Shut up.
That was Kurt Cobain at Nirvana's 1993 MTV Unplugged set. He had just finished performing Pennyroyal Tea. Before playing the song, he asked the rest of the band whether he should do it solo or not. And Grohl said, sure, do it by yourself.
Do it by yourself.
And he did, and it sounded fantastic. The crowd loved it, Kurt lit up a smoke. Dave Grohl then congratulates Kurt, but Kurt had his own response for Dave.
That sounded good.
Shut up.
So you would say Kurt and Dave got on well for pretty much all the time that he was in Nirvana. Kurt was even starting to let Dave contribute on some of the later Nirvana songs, stuff off In Utero, that song Scentless Apprentice, of course. But along the way there definitely had been a couple of little hiccups between the two. I'll play a quick clip here from an older video that I made. It's from back in 1992 when Kurt and Dave hadn't talked for some time. Grohl had become upset with Cobain, and Cobain wrote him a letter reassuring him that he was a very important part of the band. I was upset with Kurt because I hadn't talked with him for a while and some decisions had been made without me. And he got word that I was upset. So he sent me a letter that basically talked about, don't worry, this fame thing will blow over and will hopefully come down to the level of the Pixies or Sonic Youth and be comfortable. And how there are times when he wished he could break up the band and start a new band called Novoselic, Grohl, and the Bad Communicator. But at the end of the letter it says, I'm sorry if I've been distant, and I just want you to know that your role in this band as a member, as a brother, is lethally important. And it's well documented. There were a couple of times here and there in interviews or where they're playing live where Cobain might undermine Grohl in a jokingly fashion. And there's even the story that Cobain was wanting to replace Dave Grohl as a drummer at one point. Screaming Trees drummer Mark Pickerel said that Cobain wanted him and Dale Crover to drum on the fourth Nirvana album and maybe Grohl would have a lesser role. Pickerel said he was on a flight to LA with Cobain and Novoselic, and so they were reading an interview from Details magazine on the plane, an interview that Nirvana had done, and while reading this interview, Kurt stated that how disgusted and frustrated he was with some of the comments that Dave had made in the interview. He was frustrated with Dave becoming more comfortable in being a spokesperson for the band, or being a voice in the band. And this prompted a conversation from Kurt to have the drumming responsibilities split 3 ways on the next Nirvana record, with Pickerel, Crover, and Grohl. That's what Kurt wanted. Kurt was wanting to have the band's sound expand, and for those songs that needed the lighter touch. Chris wasn't too sure because he thought it could be seen as something that would create tensions within the band, but apparently Kurt was really excited about it. So that's really interesting. Of course, for the majority of the time, of course, it seemed as though they got on pretty good. I mean, I wasn't there, but it seemed they got on pretty well, right? But as I say, there definitely were those moments you can pick out where Cobain would undermine Grohl, called his riff off Scentless Apprentice boneheadish, I believe.
And the riff, yeah. He came up the drum beat and then he showed me the riff, you know, and it was really simple, and we thought, well, this could work, and I was thinking, this is kind of boneheadish,
And so, as we know, around that 94 time, Grohl was starting to work on his own music. He was always working on his own songs anyway, but he probably would have released that Foo Fighters album anyway. If it was then or a couple of years later, he may have left Nirvana at some point at around that time and gone off to do some solo stuff. So just really interesting, but no doubt Grohl's inclusion into Nirvana really transformed the band, really amped up their sound. He brought a lot of dynamics to the drumming stool, really helped to make those songs off Nevermind and In Utero and anything else he played on, really helped to make those songs what they are as we know them. So Cobain, Novoselic, and Grohl together as a trio, unstoppable at that time in music, even if they did have their differences. Thanks guys for tuning in as always. Be sure to have your say in the comment section. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll catch you next time.